you weaken your calling. But when you starve the flesh, the spirit gets louder. And that's where real power lives, not in comfort, but in control. Let's call it what it is, a war. Every day, every hour, every moment, you're in a war between the flesh and the spirit. Two opposing forces fighting for control over your choices, your focus, and ultimately your destiny. The flesh, it wants ease. It wants food when you're not hungry. It wants lust when you should be loving. It wants comfort when you were called to grow. It craves validation, attention, sugar, dopamine, porn, laziness, all of it. The spirit, it craves discipline. It craves truth. It's not flashy, not loud, but it's focused. It wants to build you, not numb you. It wants connection with God, not a quick fix from the world. Here's the truth. You don't hear enough. You can't feed both. You can't serve purpose while feeding every urge. You can't chase calling while coddling comfort. Trying to do both will break you, spiritually, physically, and mentally. See, people think fasting is just about skipping meals. Nope, that's dieting. This ain't that. Fasting is war. Spiritual warfare, a declaration that your spirit is in charge now. Every time you fast, you put the flesh on trial. You tell your stomach, your impulses, your carnal urges, you don't run me. Fasting silences the noise. All the dopamine hits from food, screens, sugar, comfort, they fade. And when the noise dies, guess what gets louder? Your spirit, your conviction, God's voice. Jesus didn't walk into his ministry off a full stomach and a soft bed. He fasted 40 days in the wilderness. That wasn't a cleanse, that was a preparation for purpose. If the Son of God had to starve the flesh before stepping into his calling, who are you to think you'll get there while staying full and soft? Fasting is how you sharpen your weapon. Your spirit is a sword, but it's dull when your flesh is fat with comfort. Let's talk real. Cravings are liars. Your flesh whispers the same weak lines every time. Just one bite. You've been good lately. You've earned this. Start tomorrow. You're too tired. This doesn't matter. It's the same playbook from the Garden of Eden. Did God really say? A question, a seed of doubt, a twisted truth, and just like Eve, most of us take the bite. But here's what they don't tell you. Every time you say no to a craving, you break a chain. You weaken a stronghold. You train your spirit to lead. But every time you say yes to the flesh, you build a habit of weakness. You build a life where your impulses are the boss. You don't have a food problem. You don't have a lust problem. You have a submission problem. Who are you submitting to? Your cravings or your calling? This ain't deep. It's basic biology. Whatever you feed gets stronger. You feed lust, it multiplies. Soon, it's not just Instagram thirst traps. It's porn, it's affairs, it's shame. You feed greed, it never ends. More money, more shoes, more flexes. You never feel full because the flesh can't be satisfied. You feed gossip, you become bitter, messy, and toxic. But you feed the spirit, peace grows. Clarity sharpens, self-respect returns. You start walking different. You stop needing noise to feel alive. The question is simple. What are you feeding daily? Because whatever you feed becomes the dominant voice in your life. So, what does starving the flesh actually look like? Here's the unsexy answer. It looks like war in your own mind. It looks like water fasting, dry fasting, juice fasting, OMAD, which is 1 meal a day, saying no when everything in you is screaming yes, turning off social media when scrolling would be easier, putting down the cookies and picking up the word, refusing to touch yourself when lust is screaming your name. It's resistance. And guess what? Nobody will applaud you for it. No one's going to post you on their story for choosing broccoli over brownies. But heaven takes notice. Every time you deny your flesh, your spirit gets stronger. You're not just losing weight, you're losing weakness. Now flip it. Feeding the spirit is just as intentional. It's daily prayer, not when you feel like it, but because you need it. Reading scripture, not for a verse of the day, but to renew your mind. Journaling, getting your thoughts out instead of bottling. Getting your thoughts out instead of bottling them up. Practicing gratitude, training your heart to notice blessings, not just burdens. Sitting in silence. No distractions, no noise, just presence. Worship, Not just music, but movement. Workouts, walks, work, everything becomes worship when the posture is obedience. Feeding your spirit isn't about being perfect, it's about being present with God, with yourself, with your purpose. And the more you feed your spirit, the less power the flesh holds. Now here's the crazy part. The world says power comes from indulgence. More sex, more food, more money, more yes. But God says power comes from restraint. True kings don't bow to cravings, they dominate them. You think self-control is weakness? Nah, it's mastery. The ability to tell your flesh no and mean it. That's how legacies are built. Samson had strength but no control. He died a slave. David had a heart for God but fed his lust, and it cost him dearly. Judas traded his purpose for 30 coins, and we do it every day for cookies, clicks, and comfort. But when you starve the flesh, when you step into that wilderness, when you embrace discomfort, discipline, denial, that's where real power shows up. You stop being a victim of your urges and start becoming a vessel for God's purpose. Let me leave you with this. You were made to be hungry, but not for junk, not for likes, not for lust, for righteousness, for purpose, for the presence of God. So starve the part of you that keeps you stuck. Starve the part that settles for dopamine hits. Starve the part that begs for shortcuts. And feed the part that's ready to rise. Feed the warrior in you that's been quiet. Feed the king in you that's been sleeping. Feed the God in you that's been muffled by food, porn, and distractions. Empty stomach, full faith, clear mind, heavy spirit. It's not about looking good, it's about becoming good. Not soft, not sluggish, not spiritually sleepy, but sharp, sober, solid. That's where power lives. Not in comfort, but in control. And if you're going to be hungry for the right